Hey Masters of Speed, it's Terramaster, and welcome to a pretty cool deck profile video. Now, as you may know, I don't do these very often because I don't play in events very often. I do, however, try to play in most official Konami events. And this is a deck that I feel has been overlooked. I would like to shout out Discord user Jack Kiyomu, a regular in Speed Duel League tournaments, for essentially this entire deck. I copied the entire main deck and made some adjustments to the side deck, but that's it. Watching Jack play this deck so much also kind of gave me an idea of how to play it well too, even though I did misplay a few times, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, thanks to Jack for showing the fact that this deck deserves respect. And in my opinion, this deck should be on the tier list, but it just doesn't get any representation. So therefore, some people don't put it on this tier list, that including Speed Duel League, which didn't put Ojama's. That's right, that's the deck. It's Ojama's on the tier list. Anyway, let's get into the deck now. So you can see the skill is Chaz Princeton. It's an Ojama deck. We've got to play the Ojama skill, Land of the Ojamas. Now, this never came up, but once per turn you can send an Ojama card from your hand to the graveyard. First summon an Ojama monster from your graveyard while you control an Ojama monster. Now that the second part of the effect did actually come up. While you control an Ojama monster, switch the original attack and defense of all monsters on the field. That actually allowed me to do 1,000 damage with Ojama monsters in one of my games, and it actually mattered a lot. So that second effect is something that you shouldn't necessarily ignore. I doubt you'll ever be using the first effect, because any Ojama card you'd want to discard is probably something you just is your like summon target regardless. So just for that, I don't think the second effect will come up, but I mean the first effect will come up, but the second one should. All right. Now, the primary reason for playing Land of the Ojamas is the key spell card of the deck, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Right now, we will start with the monsters. So you have your Ojama package. So we have 3 copies here of Ojama Blue. This is the core Ojama monster of the deck. The reason for that is when it's a battle, you search for 2 Ojama cards. Now notice it says cards, not monsters. So you can do either a copy of blue, a copy of our next monster, which you'll run 1 of, which is Ojama Red, or you do your field spell, which we will, I mean, not field spell, your key spell card, which we will get to in a second after we're done with all the monsters. So remember that. All right. Next up, we have Armed Dragon level 3 as part of the Armed Dragon package. To finish that off, we have Armed Dragon level 5 at 3 of. All right. So you only need 1 level 3 because it's always going to be searchable with your spell card. I know I keep mentioning the spell card. I promise you'll get to it. And then you can just go ahead and constantly search that in your standby phase, drop it normal summon on the field, and go ahead and use it to summon your 5. Those are your 2 key packages here, right? Your Ojama package, your Armed Dragon package. Now, there's 2 tech monsters in here. And I've really wanted to play this card in a competitive way, so I really love that this is possible now. And this is Dogoran, the Mad Flame Kaiju. All right, there's 2, not 3. So here's why this card is really good in this deck. Okay, 1, Armed Dragon level 5's effect is actually to discard a card. You have to discard a monster, and then you can destroy an opponent's monster that has attack less than or equal to the discarded monster's attack. So you're typically discarding your other copies of level 5, or Dogoran being discarded actually came up and helped me win a game, if not 2 games. So it's actually kind of big. But not just that, it's for another reason. It can also out sticky monsters on your opponent's side of the field. Now, the only sticky monster that's really relevant to speed duels right now is Cyber Angel Izana, right? Because you can't really destroy Izana normally, but Kaiju can go ahead and wipe that off the field. In addition to that, if your opponent they're playing like floaters, right? If they're on Giant Rat and they're setting that, right? Instead of having to attack over Rat and go through the whole floater thing, you just give them a Dogoran, and if you out the Dogoran, you've got it. There's another spell card in here that combos very well with that. So we're finally going to get to the 6, what I think are the 6 core spell cards of the deck. All right. First, we start with the fabled Oja match. That is the one I've been talking about that combos with your Ojamas and your Armed Dragons. So typically, depending on your opening hand, obviously, it could be different. Like I made a different play a lot of times, but typically what you'll do is you'll activate this in your standby phase. You'll discard you'll pay your field spell for cost, not discard. It's on your field, right? And then you'll search for an Ojama blue and an Armed Dragon level 3. And then Oja match also lets you go ahead and normal summon one additional time for one of the monsters you search. So you usually summon the level 3, and since you're in your standby phase, it triggers right away, giving you your Armed Dragon level 5. So you essentially, in your standby phase, not only made an Armed Dragon level 5 for the cost of nothing, you thinned your deck by 2, and now you have an Ojama blue, which you can just normal set face down. But better than normal setting it face down, even better than that, is if you can summon it and activate creature swap. That's the OTK combo, right? So you normal summon that Ojama blue. You have your level 5 already on the field. You play creature swap. You give your opponent Ojama blue. You take their monster. You destroy Ojama blue by battle. 2400 damage. Effect activates. You search your other Oja matches, or you search for Ojama red if you need that to pay cost to activate the second Oja match, right? Then you activate your second Oja match, and that Armed Dragon, if it attacks directly, it's 4,800, right? Sounds easy enough. And here's the combo I promised with Dogoran. So your opponent has a very annoying monster or a face-down monster, right? That you can't just get rid of it for some reason. You don't have the correct full OTK combo, right? You can give your opponent Dogoran, and then if you have the second Dogoran, that's even better because you can then special summon one to your side of the field, and then you can swap and give them some garbage. So that's an option. Or you can give your opponent Dogoran, discard your other Dogoran with Armed Dragon's effect, and then you've just destroyed your opponent's Dogoran and gotten rid of any monster they may have had, such as Izana. All right. So that sounds easy enough, right? But you may be saying, but Terramaster, what about Backrow? This is all assuming your opponent has no Backrow. Well, with these cards, you have 4 slots left. These 4 slots go towards Backrow hate. The first of which is 1 copy of Cosmic Cyclone. And you may be saying, 1 copy of Cosmic Cyclone? Why not run 3? Well, here's where Jack has his latest innovation to this deck, which is 3 copies of Double Cyclone. And I cannot tell you how well this works, because the reason to play Cosmic over Night Beam or Dust in this deck is that you want to activate it in your standby phase with your Oja match, right? But Cosmic cost life points. Here's why I think Double Cyclone is better, right? And Double Cyclone is also you're chaining to your own Oja match, which may not be the most relevant thing, but without the life point cost and the ability to just catch your opponent by surprise like that is really good. And I sometimes was able to actually just set a dead creature swap, which wasn't doing anything else, and actually use Double Cyclone on it to get rid of a Blaze Accelerator, and that actually won me a game too. So Double Cyclone is actually pretty versatile in a deck like this, but you can also chain it to your creature swap. You can also obviously chain double to Cosmic or double to double. So there's a lot of different directions to go with Double Cyclone, and I think I really like it, how it fits into the deck for that reason, and that you don't have to give up life points every time you want to do Backrow hate. But Cosmic is still pretty freaking good, so maybe you'll see the side deck have a little more of it. Speaking of the side deck, why don't we get to that? So first things in the side deck is obviously our one of, and that's Jinzo. Jinzo is very good. It helped me win a game. There's a lot of like nonsense decks right now in the format that play tons of trap cards. So Jinzo is absolutely necessary for any kind of aggressive deck to have sided. Then you have Cosmic Cyclone, as promised, a second copy, but just a 2, not the third one. And that's because you need that third slot for something else. I'll show you in a minute. But first, you need 2 copies of Mind Crush. I know I put that Cosmic backwards for a second. Sorry. First, you need 2 copies of Mind Crush. That's because CAs is actually a very annoying matchup. I know I explained how you have Dogoran, but the Dogoran combo won't always line up perfectly against an Izana. So having Mind Crush is still really good to just kind of, in game 2 and 3, you had that chance to just kind potentially win the game outright by activating Mind Crush. And here's your third limit 3 slot, I think. Yes, it is. That's DD Warrior Lady. Again, this is for the bad CA matchup. I don't know that it comes in anywhere else. It might come in against like Rat Box. I didn't really play Rat, so I can't tell you whether or not I would have sided this in. I might have, just because, you know, it banishes a rat and is another out to like the floating nonsense that goes on. And then finally, now this is a funny little tech card that I thought of because I could not find Offerings to the Doomed. Now this deck is weak against Banisher of the Radiance, which beatdown plays, right? Because Ojama match requires you to send a card to the graveyard as cost. Banisher on the field, you can't do that. So it turns off your main spell. It turns off Ojama Blue's effect. When it's destroyed with battle, it has to be sent to the graveyard to activate. So that's pretty annoying. So the way you get rid of that was my actual answer on Dueling Book was Offerings to the Doomed, right? But when I was going through my physical cards, I somehow lost my Offerings to the Doomed copies. I had 3 copies, and I have lost them. But that's okay, because I found this while looking through my bulk box. This is called Possessed Dark Soul. And this takes control of any level 3 or lower monster on your opponent's side of the field by tributing itself. And I thought, you know what? Why destroy Banisher when I can just take it? So, yeah, that's pretty good. Now, it came up for a different reason, where I just dropped Possessed Dark Soul and activated Creature Swap and took my opponent's monster that was bigger than it. I think it was Hydrogeddon. But Offerings would have been worse in that situation, technically, because I wouldn't have ended up with the Hydrogeddon, right? So, meh. But I don't know. It's really cute, and it also like somehow hard counters things like Waking the Dragon into TER if your opponent does that. It counters Relinquish decks, funny enough, so it like gives you a weird like one-of counter to like random rogue stuff like that too. So I don't know. Make your own decision on Offerings or Possessed Dark Soul. Anyway, extra deck right before I go, really quick. It's a standard extra deck just for a bluff because we don't play Waking. Just gonna lay the cards out here. You know, make your own conclusions from that. Again, I don't have a papered copy of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, or else one of the Dragoons would be that. But yeah, that's that. So thank you everyone for watching. I know I rambled on for probably longer than I should have, especially in the beginning. But thank you for sticking it out through the end. Ojamas, in my opinion, are a tier 2 deck. I did pretty good against Beatdown and Volcanics, which are the top 2 decks of the format. I got second place, only losing to a complete pile of bricks in the finals. But that's the weakness of the deck, right? Sometimes it bricks. But if you don't draw very poorly, you have a very high win rate, in my opinion. Like, if you can actually make plays, your win rate is pretty high against the meta right now. So I really like this deck. It is susceptible to some bricky hands. But you know what? That's a risk we have to take to have some fun in playing Ojamas, right? Anyway, until next time, thank you for watching. Terramaster out.